today we are in the Bieristan bar with Camille, who is working here. It's it's an amazing place here. How is it possible to create another bar like you created in Lyon or in other place?
Yeah. Well, when the founders of the Bieristan created the Bieristan, they also realized that people wanted to develop other projects with the same goals and the same orientation as the Bieristan, and so they really recognized that, and they started what is called the Grenade. And so the Grenade serves multiple functions. It serves as a link between the existing cooperatives, which are the Bieristan, the Court Circuit, and there are several other projects in the Région Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes. So as a link between these cooperatives, and also as a way for members of the cooperatives to develop their new projects. And so they'll accompany someone through that process with all of the experience that they've had as founders of already existing cooperatives.
Hi, Camille.
Hi.
Could you tell us a bit about the story of Bieristan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the Bieristan was created by members of another bar in Lyon, which functions along the same lines as us. It's called the Court Circuit, and it was founded in 2010. And so they are organized around the same principles, so a cooperatively run bar with local organic sourcing. And some former members of that cooperative decided that they wanted to start a beer bar, a craft beer bar. And so in 2015, there are 5 founders, and they found this really beautiful site with this really big garden, and they said, let's go for it. So they founded the Bieristan in 2015. Really quickly, they needed to hire more people. I think in the first year, they went from 5 to 12 members. Actually, now we're 17. So yeah, it grew really quickly, sort of exploded in the first few years.
And 17 employees, it is not so difficult to take decisions, to have decisions?
Yeah, we're definitely not, it's definitely not easy. I mean, there's lots of different people with different experiences, different points of view. And so we have a system, we have a weekly meeting where we close the bar in the afternoon, and we all meet together to take decisions. Every week it rotates who is sort of animating the meeting, someone who's taking notes, and then someone who notes who would like to speak. And we sometimes we try to arrive at decisions which are consensual. It doesn't always work. Sometimes we, aren't able to make decisions on something straight away. It's definitely one of the challenges of our system of governance, definitely. But I think it sort of also pushes us to be really creative in the ways that we take decisions, and we're really always evolving in how we organize ourselves, trying to make things better.
Okay. And finally, question. I was wondering, what about the COVID crisis and the lockdown? It was not too difficult for your businesses?
I mean, the COVID pandemic has been especially difficult for the restaurant industry as a whole, for, I think, fairly obvious reasons, places where people gather and meet and mingle. Something for us, especially in the way that it was handled in France, it really made us see the differences between our lunchtime activity and our activity at night, like bar activity. We're able to provide our lunch menu mostly because the bar pays for it, pretty much. If we break even for lunch, that's great for us. And so when the restrictions came and closed the bar, closed all bar activity, and we were only doing lunch, that was sort of a big hit for us. But there are other ways that have really in my opinion, have convinced me of this system during this pandemic. I mean, something which is sort of administrative, but everyone is a worker employee, salarié associé, and so everyone has the right to unemployment benefits during this pandemic, which is huge. A lot of people in the restaurant. We also don't, I mean, everyone is declared, so everyone is salaried, which in a lot of places in the restaurant business is not the case. And so people who don't have declared salaries are ineligible for unemployment benefits. So things like that are more administrative or structural, I think, are actually really important. Yeah.
And do you are speaking about the powerful dimension of the cooperation?
Mm-hmm.
Is there some difficulties that appears with the lockdown and or weakness of your systems?
Definitely. I mean, when you can't meet people, when you can't get together as 17 people, when you have to do everything online, it's really, really difficult. I mean, I think many people are realizing the fact that you just can't do things like you would normally when you move online. And that was something, especially during the first lockdown, that we learned that I think, it's just really difficult. And when you count so much on like collective intelligence and bouncing ideas off of one another and talking in order to reach a decision, and you can't really do that, it's difficult. And then sometimes, because we take longer sometimes to make decisions about things, that can be a hindrance also when you have to react in sort of like an immediate way.